time crunch, Jamie.
No.
In
It's
this
not a
new green
time
room.
crunch. It's like
Well,
a
because it's delay time zone.
failure to launch. Like there it is.
What do you mean failure to launch?
There, right there. We needed that. We needed
The background.
the background from your brother.
Oh, great. I just got a text. Good thing we're in the green room. I got a text message from Danielle. She wants to trade garage space. How do you like that? Is this something that you can entertain people and talk about
I can
things?
talk about,
I can move
yeah,
my car.
yeah. Go and move your car.
Can you believe this? The people, the listeners, watchers, I sincerely apologize.
I like how you're just like pointing off to the glowing wall behind you. You're like, I got to move the car.
Oh, it is over there. Oh no, over there. I pointed in the wrong direction. All right, Jamie. This is time for the song and dance time. All right, I'll be
Uh-huh.
right back.
All right.
Literally 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes. A Hollywood 50 seconds.
Just be careful. Don't hit anything with the car. Yeah. So just for everybody's benefit, we're gonna watch Kurt just like go find his car keys. Yeah. See, this is all the. I can't remember where the keys are. But maybe in the bag. Nope. In the other room. Can you all see the cat? Oop, that side. This side. Yeah. So he's in his spot, and then you might be able to hear a little bit of Tink. She's talking too. But yeah, so we had some background music there for a minute, but apparently, oh no, he's back. Kurt is back, and he's still looking for the keys. They might be. Um, did you check the back? Did you check the car? Did you check the car? Is it in the car?
No, it's not. Where are they?
Did you change clothes for the show? Are they in your other pants? Wow, these really digging deep, folks. Like I don't know where the keys could be, but anyone have any guesses? Is there any guesses from the audience? Oh, there they are. Well, I wouldn't have guessed there. I wouldn't have guessed. No. I hope this makes the 2024 outtakes. I think it probably will. Um, so, presidential debate today. That's why Kurt is wearing a T-shirt of presidents. I am not. Um, anyways, yeah. So this is 159. This is the green room. So this isn't the real episode. Um, this is why people don't do podcasts totally by themselves, because then they end up talking to themselves, as I'm doing right now, trying to think. But yeah, so we did have some music there for just a very brief moment. We are experimenting. We've got a few new tracks from Kurt's brother that we might be introducing. We've talked about it before. Some new intro, outro music, maybe some in between music, maybe some green room music. That would be new. That's original as opposed to our restream um, sound check that we periodically do when we go through the channels and try and find something we like. If you've been patient enough to go through that with us on the show before, it is sometimes a slog, and we understand that. I don't know. Did he move the car, or I don't know what he's doing now? Um, does he have? This was a quite an excursion to move the car. Well, any guesses on what else he had to do? And um, I'm not sure. Finding the keys, that was fun. Um, Definitely a highlight. If we had a highlight reel, we could do that, especially when he found them. Like, I don't know where they were. They were like in that blue thing over. It was in his cap. It was in his hat. He put them in his hat. That's what it is. Couldn't figure out what that was. Sort of blurry back there.
What did I miss?
Oh, I was just entertaining people. We were speculating on where the keys were until you found them. Maybe in your hat. Is that what they were in your hat?
Yeah, in the well, in that basket, in the hat, in the basket. Sorry, people. Well, if we didn't lose them now, we'll never lose them because our fans are the best.
I was trying to entertain. You killed the music, so that was like the vibe was totally gone for me. It was like really like talking to myself. But
Well, the uploaded songs don't get I can't loop it.
oh,
So well, now that we're live, thank you Restream for allowing me to upload songs. However, okay, don't downgrade the transfer rate at which they play at, and compared to your music, and then also don't give us a loop button. Come on, what else? So yeah,
I don't know. I mean, when we've talked, we're sort of projecting out into the universe of Restream, and they are listening.
they
So,
have. I mean, they
they
gave
have.
us the ability to upload music, but now,
Well, do you remember when they only had like 4 channels? And
yeah, that's true. And we asked
we asked for more, and they gave
and we
us
got a Christmas channel.
yeah. Well, there was that, but then we got a few extras. So
There's more than, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, like 20.
yeah,
20
and while you were gone,
20 levels of suck.
Well, no. I mean, let's not, let's not all stay on the. Kurt is in a little bit of a negative. There's a negative tip to some of this stuff, but what I'm trying to say was that when you were gone, because you did depart for a little bit, when you were gone, I was talking to the audience about those longtime listeners who've been really, really great, and they stayed with us in those couple green room episodes where we tried to find a channel we liked. Remember when we went through all of them? That was a fun episode.
Yeah, the music-a-thon.
See, this is Jamie's whole goal in this sort of green room portion of the show is to get Kurt to smile and to laugh a little bit.
I laugh.
Well, yeah, I mean, I almost got one there. It was like you liked the whole.
I'm a jovial person.
Sure, most of the time. We were debating whether or not the keys were in another pair of pants.
They were in my pocket.
We were kind of guessing. I was doing some guessing, speculating when you left the room. But
I could hear a little bit through the headphones on the table.
Good.
You're shouting obscenities at me.
No. It was more like, go check the back room.
We are in the back room. Oh, I don't know if we get all the stream stats, like how many viewers update. I mean, I'm not going to talk trash, but because we have a good friend of the podcast, Sam. He's in the family, literally, and he says he sends chats in all the time.
Well,
unless he was trying to gaslight me.
No.
Sam, are you gaslighting me?
I think Restream is throttling stuff for you. So just there's someone in their home office who's just like, I'm gonna mess with Kurt.
Yeah, maybe they want me to pay more money, pay a higher account. Anyway, that's all.
I know what it is. They want some coffee. They heard that you bought a bunch, and it's all in the basement. And yeah, I haven't seen it either, folks. So, but I know Kurt's been drinking it. So what are you drinking today? Oh no, we gotta wait. We'll save that for the episode.
you're, you're ready to go. Well, I guess it is debate night, so we could go into the show. I think that was the cue, right? Go live.
Go live. We are live, but yeah.
Hey, Jamie, how's it going?
Welcome back, folks. It's episode 159. Howdy, Kurt.
Is it 159? Well, I mean, we're recording one, but is it really 159 until it's put on the audio platforms,
Well,
or just the?
I know.
It is. This is it.
I
This is.
did think about
I
that,
mean,
but
yeah.
you did correct me the last time we got on. You're like, well, I know we're delayed on some editing, but they do live out in the universe. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
I
right.
was
Oh,
like,
so
you know,
you're
I was like, you're right. You're right. You're right.
playing my cards against me.
Huh?
I see how it is.
No. Just reminding you of the momentum that we have, and it's wonderful.
It's a snowball.
Mm-hmm.
All snowball start small when they roll downhill, and then they become an avalanche.
Or if you live in a flat area and like it snows in your yard, and then you have to make a tiny snowball and then roll it until you can put the stick in it to make the snowman's nose. Yeah. Right? It's a stick for the nose, right?
Carrot.
Carrot.
Well, sticks for arms.
Sticks for arms.
You can get fingers.
Yeah. Well, is that
Carrot
why?
nose.
Oh, that makes sense.
Coal for buttons. I mean, if you go by the Frosty.
Yeah.
Traditional Frosty.
Top hat or
I don't
baseball
really
or baseball cap with the car keys. Don't put the car keys next to the snowman, because then you're all
buried in the snowman.
Then it's all over. Yeah.
Nobody's getting a garage.
No one's getting that other garage space.
Yeah. Yep. And what was I going to say? Oh, but I don't really know what snow is like. Even here in Michigan, we didn't get much snow last year. So, but this year we'll see.
I don't want it.
Well, you probably won't get any. I mean, there are moments where Texas gets things. Like you're going to get a hurricane.
No. Well, no.
Is what's the latest one is F or H? F right now? I forgot the name. It's a female name. It's heading into the Gulf. Although you're not really in the Gulf.
Well, I mean, Texas, third coast, Gulf, third coast.
Well,
buddy.
but you,
Austin.
Austin.
Coast. No, Austin is not. Austin's sort of in the middle of the state.
Right, yeah. So hurricanes usually don't hit you.
No, we just get the tropical storm depression thing afterwards.
Aftermath.
Yeah.
Aftermath, yeah. So what is the you wanted to know what coffee I was drinking, right?
Yes, I did. Well, I mean, I haven't officially asked that yet in this episode, but for those who join us in the green room, there was a moment where I jumped ahead of myself. Apologies.
I think they're fine. I think they're more irritated by me having to move my car out of the garage.
That was in the green room, buddy. Again, they didn't know about.
I know. If they stayed,
they stayed. Yeah,
they're here now.
And yes, in the live,
it's still worthy of another apology. Yeah.
Well,
right.
Well, yes, and they didn't hear my little subtle diatribe and dig on the coffee in the basement. So,
oh yeah, oh right.
Is that what's in the cup?
No, actually, what do I have? I have some Guatemalan medium roast from that market that I've gone to, where you can, fill your own, bag. Oh, Tink.
I know she's like
does not like Guatemalans apparently.
She's apparently I haven't been to this market where you can fill the bags.
Yeah.
She wants you to fill a bag for her. That's what she's saying. She's
Oh
like,
yeah.
you fill. She doesn't know bag or bowl. Like it's just all one thing. So
A vessel, please.
yes,
I would like fill my vessel. So that yeah, it's a Guatemalan roast, um, and I'm Guatemalan, so I kind of have some partiality to when I have my choice, right?
yep.
If I'm going to choose, I'm going to choose Guatemalan. So that's what I've got. It's a nice, mellow, nothing super stand out, but it gets the job done. Has good flavor, tastes like coffee, has caffeine.
That
What's
delivery,
your-
perfect. You were just sort of like, it's kind of mellow.
You remember it's like a commercial. It's a coffee commercial, right? Like
Tastes like
it's
coffee.
like
I kind of like.
it wasn't that bad.
No, no, no. But it was. It wasn't It wasn't monotone. I'm trying to get the facial thing to work. And because of the facial thing, I'm trying not to move like a whole lot of stuff with
Oh,
the
I see.
eyebrows
Yeah,
and
and
stuff.
then you
And so
yeah.
that makes the voice do that kind of
So I
stupid
look like a
monotone.
robot? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's just me.
Or a serial killer?
Maybe. I mean, have you been watching those shows again?
I actually have not. I'm
Okay.
behind.
Maybe you need to do that, and that'll just like
I'll
that'll
snap the streak.
yeah snap the streak. And see, you're smiling already,
I'm
folks.
enjoying myself. I
Okay,
I'm
good.
almost through a bottleneck. I've built, but it's a self-built work workload bottleneck I've created for myself, which I just said. Um, and school started. Right, these are all the excuses. My teaching semester has started too, and it's see, it's just manifesting into these white hair. Not even I went right past gray, and now I'm into white and into white hair. And look at this. Woo, woo. Anyway, so what are you drinking? Because it should not be a big debate, because that's for later.
No. So it is. I've resorted to the house blend for me, which is I've gone to the community coffee. Um, this is the breakfast blend because I did not feel like um, I wanted to get some ground coffee, and that's probably the easiest, best, most inexpensive ground coffee that I actually prefer and can drink more than a couple days in a row. So
So we've talked about, in the past, um, our brewing methods, right?
yes,
Still, so you're still in like Mr. Coffee territory?
Mr. Coffee.
Yeah,
Like I
like
don't.
coffee machine,
Oh yeah,
coffee
the
maker.
machine. Yes, yes,
The
yes.
brand name. Let's like
I
Xerox,
was like,
Mr.
what?
Coffee.
I'm like, it's like
You're not Mr. I mean, you're Mr. Coffee
1983
maker.
on me here going on, but no. Yeah. I mean, I mean, I have the other, I have the press and all that fun
Uh-huh.
stuff. I don't have the patience for that. Um,
I like
and
French press.
I
That's
do
what I use.
too. I mean, I will bust it out on the weekend when there's like the time constraints and like the runway of Jamie patience level is just forever.
Do you
Like
ever
it's
so like on work days, are you what, waking up 10 minutes before you got to get out the door? Is that the
no. I
Are
mean,
you that guy?
no, I'm not. I'm not totally that guy. No, I mean, 30
I
minutes,
used to be. I used to
45,
be that guy.
45 minutes, before I got to go out the door. If I
Oh. Yeah.
if I don't have coffee figured into the thing, because if I have coffee figured in, then I want to grind it and do the whole thing and whatever. And but yeah,
Well, see, so here, everyone's got to have a routine. Well, maybe not everybody, but for me, I like a routine.
you can't even find your keys.
That's not part of the routine.
Oh, okay. Sorry, jumped ahead. That's
but
step 3.
but it's a good point. I guess you call out a good point. But when this workload
Have
over
you left the
right?
house in a while?
I have to. I have
Oh,
to go
okay.
teach.
To teach. Never mind.
Yeah. And then but sometimes it's like in what do you call it? Like just in time. teaching, as in I show up just in time. No, I like to get there a little early. I try and leave, but then what things get
You
sacrificed like food.
you need to like okay, so when it gets cold, which is probably like next week for you guys. Like it might be cold right now.
Not yet. Well,
So when you show up, do you like do the whole nutty professor thing and you get like wool scarves and wool hats and like wool scarves? Did I say scarves already?
yeah,
Um
twice.
and and you like walk in, and it's like, like choking yourself with the scarf and you're like, "Oh, I'm here. Let's do some desk crits."
I don't know if it's quite that frantic. Maybe if I was late.
Okay.
Haven't been late yet, but so we have
Your keys are in your blue hat.
while we're talking about school, I did our friend of the podcast, Cormac, the one half of the dynamic Arcaspeak duo, is teaching with me in studio.
Are you
Did I
guys
tell you
besties
this?
now?
I don't think I'm allowed to be besties
Okay.
until I deliver some coffee to Evan.
Just tell him it's in the basement.
I have multiple times. I've exhausted that excuse.
No, what you do, like, so is it in the base? Do you have a basement like Blair Witch Project basement?
What?
Like is
Well, in Michigan, people like basements because tornadoes are a thing.
oh,
Well, you get tornadoes too, but you don't have basements.
not here.
Not you. Up
Not really.
Oklahoma.
Sometimes. I mean, we get occasional. I mean,
So
more like North Texas. I mean, Central Texas sometimes. We could
the Midwest likes a basement.
Mhm.
It's a full height, 8-foot wall basement. It's not scary. I grew up
You're
in
like,
a Blair Witch.
it's not scary.
The basement I grew up in was a Blair Witch basement.
Ooh,
That was scary.
dirt floor.
Yeah. It was an old farmhouse, yeah.
Okay. Was
Stone
there
wall, dirt,
like a guy down there
spiders,
in the
a
corner?
guy. There probably was a guy. For sure. The Boogeyman.
Did you see that in the movie theater?
Which?
That.
The Boogeyman?
Which?
Oh, yes, I did actually.
Me too.
When I was in high school or
Yeah.
right after college. First, somewhere around, it was 98, 99, something like that.
99 was a good year for movies.
Yeah. Yeah. The Matrix.
Yes.
The Matrix.
I think Memento too.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one.
Yeah. Need to watch that again.
Saw them all. Yeah, I could watch that many times.
That one's worth a rewatch for sure. Like,
I've seen it multiple times.
oh yeah.
I mean, it takes more. Like Christopher Nolan things take more than one time.
Do you know that they're
figure
re-releasing, or maybe I missed it. Like Interstellar, like in the theater.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good one.
Yeah, excellent.
That's the one. That's McConaughey, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Anne Hathaway and
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
those people.
that was a good movie. That was really cool. I like the way they visualized time. I suppose, really, it's kind of just about time. If you boil it down. Our movie. This is the movie podcast where we distill everything down to
Yeah, this is
single word concepts.
Coffee.
It's pretty good.
It's good. I like
Dark
coffee.
roast.
Coffee. Caffeine.
Guatemala. Beans.
This is like word association, but like not word association.
Yeah, I've been watching too much or listening to too much Smartless. Are you familiar with that podcast? It's Will Arnett, Jason Bateman.
Are you
and Sean
cheating
Hayes.
on this podcast?
I have to listen to other things.
Oh, okay.
I'm not trying to emulate
Okay.
necessarily, but
Keep going.
I enjoy listening to other people talk, not
Just
myself,
not this.
not
Got
these
it.
guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already demonstrated, basically all that we've got going for us. So anyway, we should probably talk about a sketch.
Yeah, I think it's time. What do you think? Yeah,
It is.
folks.
It
Yep,
is.
yep, yep.
Yeah. 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 If they were in the chat, if the chat actually worked, they would be saying,
Well, I mean, your cousin's in the chat, so or nephew or
I think he's my
cousin,
cousin-in-law.
cousin-in-law. Yeah,
Do you
cousin.
get cousin-in-laws?
Sure.
Oh, I'm zoomed
It's
out.
all family. I mean,
We were going to talk about
ooh, yeah,
this, but maybe a little bit of this.
yeah, yeah. I mean, why don't you share? It's like a show and tell. Kurt needs a show and tell. This is all part of the process, folks.
Well, speaking of sketches and methods to sketch, hold on. I'm
Uh
looking
oh.
for the keys again. I got to get the right model to match. I found it. Look at that. First try. So, I don't know. The camera's not going to pick it up very well, is it? I tried photographing these things. This is a smartphone. I tried using like a nicer camera a while ago. And I don't know if it's the white, the way the lighting hits it. It's not, it's like if you photograph a good sunset, it never looks as good as the real thing. Is that a little too braggadocious? Tooting my own horn over this model.
No. I
Okay.
think everyone was following the logic. Keep
Okay.
going.
Well, because you can't really see all the little bits and the nuance. I mean, especially when it doesn't focus very well, right? And
Well, I mean, but
scale.
talk about the process, though. I mean,
Oh yeah, sure.
I think that's
So I
the intriguing part for me, at
I
least.
I, I kind of like these. They're little cubes. Well, they're sort of eroded cube. If you took a cube and kind of started to pull pieces out, but basically it's derived from a grasshopper, so a computational script. I'll stay agnostic. That sort of subdivides a two-dimensional plane and then starts randomly extruding these subdivisions, right? Sort of these trapezoidal or polygonal cells, right, in 2D, and then starts extruding it in the third dimension so that you get this volume. And then it sort of kind of it winds up kind of looking like an urban condition, right? Like a abstract set of skyscrapers or something like that, right? And so I run a few I've run a few of these, um, which I don't need to show them all, but this is one example. And I then 3D send it to my 3D printer, my new 3D printer, which is a lot nicer than the old one. And now I have these objects, which they are here now, but they're gonna go to campus, to my office on campus, to decorate the space a little bit. And I'm actually planning on doing something a little more like, have you ever done an exercise in school where you get like, it's kind of, you get a square in the grid, and then you have to match up, you can model whatever you want, and then you have to match your edges up with your neighbor, like your classmate gets the other edges.
Oh yeah,
You ever do that? Yeah.
yeah. We did a project. It was a bridge project, and
Hmm.
so sort of a spring first year project, or
Yeah.
um, or or fall second year project, sort of an early
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah.
And it was kind of everyone had terrain, and
Hmm.
they had a square, and so
Hmm.
each piece of the terrain ended up being this ravine that was the river, right? And so
Oh yeah.
you had to build a bridge,
Pathway. Oh yeah.
or but it also had to be habitable. And so
Uh
some
huh.
people had habitation on both sides of the ravine, some people had habitation on one side of the ravine, with a bridge to the other side, but then they would just sort of be lined up. So at the end of the day, you have this sort of series of cliff houses, kind of all the way down the piece. So similar to what you're talking about in terms of lining up the squares or lining up the cubes and the edges.
Yeah, and so in this case, I have 3 or 4 of these that I recently ran. They're all different, but they don't have any common edges. So the next iteration, right, the next round, I'm going to try and adapt the algorithm to
Hold an edge.
to sort of hold a boundary condition so that I can then try and sort of cluster them together into a larger sort of piece of context.
Well, I mean,
So yeah, that's
you're talking about photographing them before, and I think that that's the nice thing about this image on the screen, even if you don't particularly like it, is or it wasn't exactly the way you had hoped it had turned out. I think what's great about it is that it in and of itself is sort of this worm's eye kind of view, or this sort of abstracted aerial view of the object, and it the motion about it, for me, is about the lines. And I think what would be interesting, and this is maybe an exercise, if you ended up doing this maybe with students or something, is it's I don't know how comfortable a lot of them are with sort of drawing and sort of using their eye to see, to see, but you know I think early design exercises for people who are learning to draw or to challenge themselves with different drawing techniques, still lifes. It's, instead of having these sort of complex, um, you know, figure field or figure that you're trying to draw or a perspective of a building or something like that, sometimes it's having an object in the middle of the room, or in this case, on your desktop, and picking a vantage point and actually trying to draw what you see.
mm,
and
mhm.
and trying to understand kind of like, this is great with this image because there is a vanishing point, to or perceived vanishing point to
Mhm.
this, and it's optical. It's your eye kind of creating that vanishing point, especially that object that's sort of off your index finger. That one shard, as it moves back into the plane of the
Mhm.
table,
Mhm.
it's receding towards that vanishing point.
Mhm.
In real life, it's really not, right. I mean, it's sort of it's somewhat going up and down,
Oh, I see. Yeah,
um,
right.
and so it's an optical illusion, and what that does is it gives an opportunity to kind of experiment with vantage points for images, and this kind of idea of vistas and framed views and perspective, which is really, that's what, all those, folks that we think of as artist architects. I'm sorry, folks. I'm still of the mindset that, architects are also artists. We definitely have a whole nother skill set to things too, but those concepts are translatable, absolutely. and
Mhm.
and this is just one indication of that, where you're able to you're able to kind of play those kind of visual games that become really, really apparent. And you can't tell me that you don't do those types of things as an architect when you're sort of laying out spaces.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And what I'm adding in here, I'm sure you've done this too, is like the crop, right? The obscuring
Right.
certain. You have the overall. I've captured the whole thing, but then we also, when I was a student, we did these exercises of sort of abstracting and further cropping in, right? So within this box, you're only drawing that, and then so then it creates another iteration or evolution to either then 2D or 3D. So this idea that you've shared with me is kind of interesting. As if I haven't overwhelmed myself with work too much. I've been wanting to develop an elective course for students that kind of blends a little bit of what we do with sketching, what we talk about, right? Sketches and hand, mixing hand with digital as an elective. And maybe this is a one of those. This could be an exercise into that if I
Well, I mean, and
generate the.
I think other things along those lines just to consider, just to kind of run this trap a little further is you know I think the beauty of the sketchbook for me is it's fast, it's comfortable, but at the same time, folks, I do draw on an iPad as well, and and I do work, and yeah, I know, shocker, and so I do some digital stuff. I just don't share it with folks because because it well for me it's not where I want it to be yet, and
Mm-hmm.
there's parts of it that are. I love the layering of things. The quick and easy access of my skills in Photoshop. To bring that into a digital drawing environment. Yeah, sure. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's blending those things, and I do that anyways. For workflow. But I think the things that are missing for me are some of the textures that I can achieve really, really quickly, as well as experiment with on the fly, with different media in my hand. And I think that that's
Mm-hmm.
something that I'm pushing myself digitally to get to.
Yeah.
It's not to say that those things you can't do. There's plenty of folks who do it and are much more adept at it than I am in that kind of an environment. But I'm not. I want to be.
Right.
I look at their work to kind of understand it. But I think that that's there's a um, the the methodology of it and the thinking that's going on in your brain. I think is really the same thing. I would make that argument.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the medium here is different. There is some different etymology to how these drawings are developed, but I think that there's something to it, and I think that it's also, I've had this sort of conversation with some colleagues recently. It's almost sort of a generational type thinking. Is if you handed somebody today a sketchbook and that sort of wasn't their mode, and they felt more comfortable digitally, as sort of a digital native, pure and simple. Um, they might be able to draw a little bit, but they're still going to have that. If their sketching isn't their forte, they're still going to have all those rough spots and criticisms of their own work, whether they're on a piece of paper or on a screen, and working on a tablet. It's just that once you get past that level of frustration and start to realize you can start to break down that whole process, just like we talk about in the sketchbook. You can do the same thing on a tablet with a stylus. The benefits, I mean, honestly, of the tablet and the stylus is scale doesn't matter at that point. You can zoom, you can
Right.
expand, you can shrink, and it's all things that I would have to do using like a copy machine, and
Right.
collage,
Right. Yeah.
from before, where you would have things bigger so you could
Yep.
get more detail into it and then shrink
Right.
it down so
Right.
that it looks tighter, and the line work changes and the line weight changes. You do that in Photoshop if you were digitizing something and all that kind of stuff. But now with a tablet and a stylus, you could do that on the fly and do that as part of your iterations in your process without having to add those extra steps. So, um,
Yeah.
you know,
With our friend Kevin from Archie Marathon, um, he likes to remind when it comes to to digital is the conversation moves, or the terminology moves away from scale toward resolution.
right,
And it's really because you can still then utilize resolution in an architectural, which I mean is dimension, right? So that you can
right,
actually proportion things and actually pull a dimension from it. But it's definitely more that digital native is thinking in pixels, not, you know eighths of an inch. And so, but being able to go back and forth is where you can become a little even more valuable or facile, right? You know, bouncing back and forth between, like you said, the paper, the large format, which then reduces and then, you know, zooms back out. So, you know, I think resolution, it's tricky. It's tricky for me, I'll admit, to try and wrap my head around pixel versus scale. You know, I don't know about you.
Well, I mean,
You know,
look at the sketch that you pulled up for today. You know, it's one where, you know, again, it's forced perspective. It's playing with scale, but it's also playing with line weight to achieve two different vignettes, you know, of the same kind of composition,
right? Yeah.
to give you that distance and to give you that sense of scale,
Hmm.
as well as the level of detail. I mean, the thing that is nice about this for me is it also sort of speaks to an effort on my part to try and explain, you know, like when you when folks look at like good black and white photography or good photography today, there's sort of a grain and a grit to some of
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
And um, you know, I mean, photographers are working digitally now and all that stuff. And, but you can still achieve that level of kind of quality, you know, in those kinds of images. And there's something that's, um, there's a soul to it, I think, in that image, right?
Hmm.
And we you appreciate it, right? It's sort of what you were saying about sort of that that, you know, expression of that sunset or that kind of image
Hmm.
in your mind, and that kind of almost that dust in the air, kind of, you know, at twilight.
Hmm.
With a sketch, you know, I'm trying to achieve some of those things from texture and sort of quality to bring that whole statue that's in this sketch forward, you know, and drive it towards the viewer so that all the other stuff sort of recedes into the background. You know, even though it's all done with the same pen,
Hmm.
there's a consciousness of the crosshatch and the texture and all those types of things. Now, can you do that digitally? Absolutely. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
but I think that there's a reluctance sometimes to draw it. It's at the point when you go digital. Sometimes folks will put um, kind of use almost like airbrush and paint tools to kind of get that splatter and that effect, or that affected pen, you know, that certain
Hmm.
pen, you
Hmm.
know, and to get that sort of same technique. And not to say that that, you know, is cheating or something like that. It's just a different way of working. For me, I'm trying to, you know, consciously go through those steps for this image, but I'm doing it all with, you know, with one implement. You know, as I find myself moving to that digital environment to try and say draw this same image or the same kind of concept, you know, I might flip to those different pens myself,
Hmm.
and kind of play with that splatter and masking certain things so that it doesn't get kind of into that white area that's sort of nice in this sketch, you know, kind of, you know, around the form and the figure. But I
Yeah.
hope hopefully that makes sense. Is that
Yeah.
I think that that's the thing that sometimes the digital image to me, you know, feels when someone's just doing it and not kind of understanding all the tools that they have, you know, at in their arsenal, for lack of a better term, um, that sort of grit and texture that you can get with a stipple or a crosshatch that is not machine made, you know, that is, you know, that has a little bit instinct in terms of it, and
Right.
almost
Yeah.
error, you know, there's some error in the way it's drawn. um, it feels more crafted, um, and sort of resonates a little bit more, whereas the other feels um, fabricated. um,
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes like I liken it to, like, you remember when 4K TVs started coming out, and then they had like this super high refresh rate, like the cycling, so that, like, and they kind of call it the soap opera effect. So like the image on the TV was so crisp that it kind of looked fake.
Right.
or over. It's just like overcooked, and like you said, having a little grit and grain, on top of that allows the brain to be more creative in filling in those blanks or drawing filling out the picture in their head rather than the screen trying to produce it all.
Well, I
It's like
mean,
overproduced.
we sort of talked about like film stuff kind of at the beginning of this episode, and it's like I don't want to be that sort of navel gazing like auteur, like, oh well, film needs to be this perfect, you must shoot on such and such, you know I mean, I've heard
Right.
it,
Yeah.
I understand it, you know what I'm talking about, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
works with your 4K because yeah, there's something that feels a bit artificial. I think maybe is the
Yeah.
word we haven't said. It feels a bit artificial. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's overcooked
Yeah.
in a way that doesn't feel real. And I think that realism is something that resonates with people. It's subconscious, and I think you can achieve both in either media. Um, but I think that there's still some skill involved in whether you're a digital artist or somebody who's doing with traditional media.
Yeah. There like one last thing. I know you want to catch a debate, right? But these and because this could definitely go on into a future episode too, is you know implementing or leveraging AI, and the dean at the university in our architecture department is definitely been exploring a lot of AI visualization tools and techniques, and they're getting to a point now where, like, I don't know if you've seen any examples, but basically it can now render like 5-second animations to where the camera's position moves, so it starts to pan, say, across. So like your sketch here, if you had an AI generate the image of your scene, it then is also can create like a bit of movement. It can't interpret a whole 360 or anything like that, but it can do like 5-second turn, right? And I find it very interesting because now you're starting to talk about three-dimensional, not just a still image, but now sort of a more depth, right?
Well, and it's
And movement to it.
interpretive. I mean,
Yeah.
there's an interpretive aspect to it, which I think
Yeah.
that to me is exciting. That I mean,
Hmm.
that's where it becomes it truly becomes this augmenting tool. And I think that at that point, yeah, I'm all for it. Let's
Yeah.
experiment with it.
Yeah. I'm thinking, well, anyway, this, yeah, like I said, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole, but yeah, I'm glad you're excited in that prospect too. And so we should just leave it there because I think that,
Yeah, we'd have to get another cup of coffee if we had to go on. So let's leave that one there for now. But
and because I
this has
think it'll
been
be an
fun.
interesting expanded conversation for sure. So yeah, thanks. I will talk to you soon, Jamie. See you on the other side, as they say, as I cue up the outro. How do you like that? I'll be sure to edit all these things out. Right.